Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to the video. Me and little Sullivan here today. He's jumped up on the little table. We've got a second one in our Samurai Week this week, so we're going to be looking at a series of films that have been, I believe, these are based on an old Japanese manga books. I think the manga books have been around for a long time. I know they're popular now, but they've been around for a long time. And this series of films were based on one of those mangas, and it's called Lone Wolf and Cub. There's a series of films. There's about 6 movies in there, plus a bonus movie, because what they did, I think the Americans did it. They made another movie out of the first 2 films, and they called it Shogun Assassin, which I believe in the UK ended up being on the one of the categories of the video nasty. I'm sure of it. But yeah, these are the original movies based on the Japanese manga or anime, whatever you want to call it. So I thought we'd have a look at one of these films today. We'll look at the box set. We'll do a closer look at the box set, and then we will review one of the movies. So let's not waste any time. Let's have a deep down look at Lone Wolf and Cub. So here we are, guys. Here is the physical copy of the Lone Wolf and Cub film series, released on one of my favourite companies, Criterion. So yes, I thought we'd have a look at this. It's been out quite a while now, and I'll forewarn you now, if you're going to try and pick this set up, it's extremely expensive. It really is. I mean, the cheapest UK one I've seen on eBay, it's about £75, but most of the time it normally goes into over the £100 mark, because it's well out of print now. So this is the release on Criterion. It is number 841, and it has a set of movies in there. We have The Sword of Vengeance, Baby Cart and the River Styx, Baby Cart to Hades, Baby Cart in Peril, Baby Cart in the Land of Demons, and White Heaven in Hell. So it's pretty cool. Maybe if I can just try and put a little bit of light in the video, maybe that might be a bit better. Is that a bit better for you? We don't have any glare, do we? No, that looks a little bit better anyway. So yeah, it has those movies, and like I said to you, it also has a bonus movie of Shogun Assassin. So it's just say here, this is based on the best-selling manga series, the 6 intensely kinetic Lone Wolf and Cub films elevated Chambara to bloody new heights. The Shogun Executioner, Ito Ogami, who's played by, here we go guys, Tomisa Buro Wakayama. So he plays Ito, who's the main character, and he's wandering the countryside as an assassin along with his infant son Dagoro, played by Akiro Tomigawa. These names. So it's Tomisaburo Wakayama is Ito, and Yakihiro Tomigawa is Dagoro, the young boy. And it tells the adventures and stories that they get up to and stuff like that. These are 2K digital restorations of all 6 films with uncompressed soundtracks. High definition presentation of Shogun Assassin, the 1980 English dub re-edit of the first 2 Lone Wolf Cub films. There's a new interview with Kazuma Kawi, writer of the Lone Wolf and Cub manga series and screenwriter of 5 of the films. L'Âme d'un Pierre, a 2005 documentary about the making of the series. There's a new interview in which Sensei Yoshimatsu Katsuru discusses and demonstrates the real Sub-Ryu sword technique that inspired the one depicted in the manga and films. There's a new interview with biographer Kazuma Nozawa and Kenji Mitsuru, who's the director of 4 of the films. So Kenji Misumi directed 4 of these films. There's also a silent documentary from 1937 about the making of samurai swords, with an optional new ambient score by Ryan Francis, and it has trailers, new English subtitle translations, plus a booklet and an essay with the film synopsis by Japanese pop culture critic Patrick Magass. So that's what's inside the box. So we'll take the content out. It's a soft box, it's just what it is, but it's still very nice. And here's the booklet, which is designed to look like just like the manga books that came out. You can buy the Lone Wolf manga books. So we'll have a look at the booklet in a minute. So here are the discs. It comes on 3 discs. Disc 1, disc 2 and disc 3. So you've got 6 films over these, plus the Shogun Assassin film, plus the extra features, all released here by Criterion. And they've all got a plain background. So, but it does have artwork, which is quite nice. Very cool. So we'll have a quick look at the booklet and we'll decide what film we're going to review. So it should start with the essay, which is Samurai and Son, The Lone Wolf and Cub Saga by Patrick Magass, with some pictures from the film. Now some of these pictures are in black and white, but the films are actually in colour. I remember this scene, fantastic. Really good films, really brutal, really gory. So we've got a rather long essay here from Patrick Magass, and now we've got a bit called The Films, which is going to go through each film. So we will review, I think on this one, the first film, which is Sword of Vengeance, which is a 1972 film, runs for 82 minutes and it's in colour. And like I said, it does star Tomisaburo Wakayama as Ito, as our main character, as our samurai. The next one in the set is Baby Cart and the River Styx. This is also a 1972 film, runs for 81 minutes and it's in colour as well. We have Baby Cart to Hades, which is also a 1972 film, runs for 89 minutes and is also in colour. So they produced quite a few in 1 year, haven't they? Really have. Baby Cart in Peril was also 1972 and runs for 80 minutes and it's also in colour. So they obviously run these out. They probably filmed them all at the same time, but there we go. We don't know, do we? Then we have Baby Cart and the Land of the Demons, which is a 1973 film, runs for 89 minutes and is also in colour. And the last one is White Heaven in Hell, which is 1974, runs for 83 minutes. And like I said, it does contain Shogun Assassin, which is a combination of the first 2 movies. And then we have a piece here about the transfers, thanks to the people who put work into this release, and the production credits and acknowledgements. And it ends there with a picture of our lone wolf and his cub. Very cool. So that is the physical release. Nice release from Criterion. So that is a closer look at Lone Wolf and Cub. And because we've looked to see what special features on there, let's just jump to the story. So we're following the first story in the box set, which is called Sword of Vengeance. And this one, Ito, is... The film sort of starts off where we see him with his child in the cart, and he's trying to put himself out for hire. He's an assassin. He was originally like a royal assassin, and he was used to do like executions for different families that would pay him to do executions and stuff like this. And I believe what happened was he had one where he had to execute a young child, Prince, because I think the child was born from some sort of dishonored background, and then he had to change his ways and move on. And the family of the child weren't happy with this, I believe, and we see Ito at home with his child and his wife. He has a flashback to back then, and his wife gets killed at the home, and he sort of kills all these sort of shoguns out, and he kills them. And so him and his son have had to now leave their life behind and start on their own. So he's, like I said, he's putting himself out for hire and his child out for hire. And there's one scene quite near the beginning where there's this mad woman that sort of like comes up to him with the baby and thinks that the baby's hers. I think she's had problems with her relationship with her partner, and he's taken off with the child. And so Ito lets her have some time with the child, and she breastfeeds him. And the woman's mother tries to pay him money for being able to use it. He said, no, he said, my baby was hungry anyway. Anyway, he carries on with his journey trying to get hired for jobs. And then he comes across one family that tried to hire him because he knows that this other group of bandits are out to kill him. There's three sort of bandits. There's one that fires guns. There's one with like a kind of a knife blade on a rope. And there's another one who's like a normal kind of samurai, and he's been hired to kill them. So he turns up at this bridge place, going to this hot spring where he's going to go and try and bathe and stuff. But this is where the three bandits are hanging out at this small village, and they've been tormenting the people of this village. And there's like this young prostitute woman there, and he manages to save her life by making love to her. Now that sounds weird, but they're tormenting him at this spring, and they pretty much give him an ultimatum, and give her an ultimatum because they're just about to kill her, and he says he will make love with her, and he manages to save her life this way. And a sort of bond comes on there with the woman. She realizes that he's an honorable samurai, because nobody knows who he is at this part. They look at him as a Ronin. Now, I believe a Ronin is... I'm not sure if I'm right. I need to look up on it. But I don't know if it's a disgraced samurai, or I think it's a samurai that's left his samurai life behind. It's something along those lines. So they're treating him as some sort of Ronin. And there's one guy who's with these bandits, and he sort of semi-recognises him. And when we get to the third part of the film, he realises who he is, that he is the executioner. So what's going to happen? Are these bandits going to kill this family member, or is our hero going to manage to eliminate these bandits? You need to watch it and find out if you can. Like I said, this is quite hard to pick up. It's quite expensive. I think you can. I would personally try and get hold of Shogun Assassin on Vipco or something like that, because that's available at a reasonable price. I'm not sure if it's had a Blu-ray release. It probably has, but try and pick that up. I think that's probably a good way to go. And if you love it, then save up and get this box set. Final verdict. Well, to me, it's an absolute essential. It's a 10 out of 10. I don't think there's none of these films that are not 10 out of 10s, to be honest with you. I've seen these years and years ago in the 80s when I really got into sort of like, yes, I love horror films, but I love gore and action films, and this was extremely gory. And I loved all of these films because they were purely gory, attracted to me. But then over the years, as I've rewatched them, I've really indulged in and loved the characters and liked the idea of this story of his father and son sort of like making their own way from trying to rebuild a new life after the loss of the son's mother and of his past history as a executioner. They're very, very cool stories, and this one is no exception. The pluses of this edition, it looks really nice. It is a 2K kind of transfer, and it does look really, really nice. The negative, the sound does drop out a few times in the film, when I've had it before, and it's got sound like when there's one scene when they're fighting on this river, you can hear the waterfall, but on this the sound drops out. Maybe it's because it's in a mono soundtrack and I'm listening it to through my Sonos Dolby Atmos soundbar. Maybe that's probably an issue with my equipment, but I don't know. But it's a really cool film. Really recommend it. Sword of Vengeance is 10 out of 10. There's no story in it that's rubbish, to be honest. It's definitely a really cool samurai collection if you're really into samurai films. So that is the end of the second samurai film. We will look at a third one this week, probably from my Akira Kurosawa box set, which I have. We'll probably have a look at one of those films, but this was just a quick look at Lone Wolf and Cub. Massive shout out to my lad. Speak to you soon, guys.